To those foreigners. Are you aware of those tactics?
Of course. It's a very devilish conspiracy. All of a sudden, people are airlines are underpricing. That is below the cost.
Yes, in the space of 1 month.
Yes, not up to a month. One other airline was advertising $100. Another one $305, $350. This, if you fill up the entire aircraft and carry people on the wings, it's not even enough to buy your fuel. So why are they doing that? Their governments are supporting them. Because Nigeria has been a cash cow for everybody. Their governments are supporting them.
They come here, they fleece the country, and they even have opportunity to fly just around the country.
Yes.
The way you will not, as a
doing their country.
you're not doing that.
So their governments are supporting them to do this and take a piece out. The idea is to take a piece out. And the moment they succeed in taking a piece out, Nigerians will pay 20 times over. Once again, it's going to happen if, God forbid, they're able to take a piece out. Because what is happening now is scary.
God forbid they will not take you out. But it is indeed a very devilish conspiracy, my brother. Welcome to Amaka Intellectual Factory, where I host podcasts and many other interesting stuff. Today, I'm going to be giving my 2 cents on Air Peace Nigeria's achievement of flights to the UK and how white people are frustrating his achievement. I will also be sharing my personal experiences on the level of unprovoked and unsolicited malevolence that seems inevitable when you migrate to the West. In one of his interviews with Channels Television, he laments the frustrations that he is facing in the UK for his achievement of a Nigerian airline that now flies to the UK, which he calls a devilish conspiracy. My brother, the half has not been told. I've got 2 words for you: economic hitmen. You are a target of Caucasian economic hitmen. This is a dark art that white people perfected in the 40s and 50s and are still making it even more perfect today. I didn't make this term up. Please, look it up. Economic hitmen. We need to understand the wealth gap that exists between black people and white people, and how this achievement of our dear brother, Onyema, threatens white people's agenda to continue to further widen that wealth gap that exists between black people and white people. Nigerians must learn from the First Republic and reject every subversive action these foreign entities use to disrupt our development as a person and as a people. I like how all the controversy about the Isiago uniform of Air Peace hosts and hostesses were largely condemned. I urge Igbos to not blindly retaliate with tribal insults to any ethnic group. And I also, and most importantly, urge all non-Igbo Nigerians to not allow themselves to be used by external forces as vessels of demonic attacks on your innocent sisters and brothers. We must learn from the First Republic of Nigeria. These so-called Nigerians whipping up tribalism are mostly Tainos, Melanesians, and Afro-Asiatics that were seeded in multiple waves of past migrations on the African continent. In the not-so-popular history of Africa, which they try so hard to hide from us, it is these foreign blacks that were attacking the original people of Africa, and really the original people of the world. And even now, it is their descendants the West continues to use in subversive tactics all over Africa. However, because the West was so focused on devastating Black Americans, Africans enjoyed a certain level of peace that allowed us to maintain our humanity in a way you would rarely find in the West. But that grace period we enjoyed as Africans is over, and that white man has come back for his pound of flesh, 7 times stronger. That white man is not alone. He has brought with him a multitude of free radicals who are worse than him, and they don't mean us well. To really understand white people, you must understand covert warfare, covert action, subversion, and espionage. For real, the abundance of literature on this is mind-blowing. The type of things white people are confessing to are out of this world. Take the statistics of violence, including unaliving of Black American women and girls by white and non-Black men, for example, that keeps astronomically growing in America. I remember about 2016 when this interracial relationship psychological operation went into full swing. Almost overnight, Black American women and girls became more likely to date outside their race by over 1,000%. Do you think I'm exaggerating? Please, come to Los Angeles and witness this for yourself. But the most sinister of all interracial relationship psychological operation is how white and non-Black men are gang-stalking Black women and girls, traumatizing a lot of them into interracial relationships. This is a whole different topic of its own, but African women are falling for this psychological operation, and that is why I brought it up. Let me tell you, America is a fantastic place. I will never outrightly condemn America. However, if you come here, know that nothing in Nigeria or even Africa can prepare you for the level of malevolence in this part of the world. Nothing. And if no one schools you on this, when they come for you, they will get you. We have to understand covert warfare, subversion, and espionage, because it will demystify white men and white people generally for you. That is why sometimes you see Black people so heartlessly betraying other Black people. You don't understand the level of mind control, grooming, and indoctrination that brought about this treacherous Black person. As the world globalizes, it is a must that we understand white people. Right now, the gap between white people and black people in every aspect of our lives is a sin against man and God. And that is because black people's minds are just focused on mediocrities, by design, of course. According to Igbo historians like John Anenechukwu Ume and the great late Professor Catherine Acholonu, we are in the age of survival, known as Ugaze in Igbo language. We have to take into consideration all these attacks, roadblocks, and hurdles in the name of law that white people keep coming up with that keeps us on a hamster wheel for life if care is not taken. Go to white neighborhoods. Many white people are not doing 9-to-5 jobs. A lot of white people don't have jobs. They have hobbies. If you see a white man that fixes cars, it's his hobby, not his job. A white woman that owns a cleaning company or bakes cupcakes, it's her hobby, not her job. You pass by and you see the father and mother are home with their child playing. But blacks have 2 to 3 jobs and are never home to take care of their children. This is no longer a black American problem. This is the reality of African immigrants in America. And you know what makes this even scary? More and more African immigrants in America are not coping as well as black Americans are. There are no specific resources available to African immigrants to develop themselves and start up businesses as there are for other non-black immigrants who sometimes have criminal records, by the way. How long can we continue to flex our muscles? When it comes to America, it is not by hard work, because hard work will unalive you. And what do I mean? If you want 2 jobs, you will find 2 jobs. If you want 3 jobs, you will find 3 jobs. In fact, if you want 5 jobs, you will find 5 jobs. But like Nigerians like to say, body no be firewood. You can only work so hard for a while before you burn out. And a lot of times, once you burn out, you can never be like you used to be. A lot of you are nurses. Nothing wrong with that. It's an honorable job. But the rate at which a typical African immigrant turns to nursing as a profession in the US has definitely been noticed by white people. All they need is to pass punitive laws and Christmas is over for African immigrant nurses. The surveillance state America is in now is very frightening. Yet, it is not even a dialogue among African immigrants in America. How much more Africans in Africa? We just see stories here and there, but anyone with a sense of discernment knows that this is a classic case of white male gang stalking that person is suffering. I bet we have forgotten the Nigerian Igbo woman that tried to crash into the White House when Donald Trump was president because she needed help to stop a harassment that she clearly did not understand. Very unfortunately for that woman, when I saw her husband and heard what he said, I felt for her. Or is it that decent Nigerian Yoruba man that talked about how some white men kept harassing him until they put something in his body that he still feels inside him? He said he went to India where it was confirmed that they inserted something inside him, but they were unable to remove it. There is no follow-up story, so we don't know any updates on these two people. What about me? Since I came to Los Angeles, I myself have been a target of gang stalkers of all races and gender. In fact, the black women were the first ones I noticed. I still remember being in front of a Starbucks coffee shop, and an older black woman asked me when I bought my pair of jeans because she has never seen me wearing it before. Another incident was when I went for a job interview, and as I left the office and was in the parking lot, a black woman pulled up in her car to me and asked me what I was doing in this building and asked if I came for a job. Since then, I have had uncountable encounters with such people. I also started noticing so many Hispanic gang stalkers. In fact, in terms of number, the Hispanics take the prize. However, the moment I started noticing white people, the violence went from 0 to 100 real quick. How can you report to the police when the police are clearly part of the gang stalkers? Just a few days ago, my car was vandalized in a supposed secure government parking lot. It was the only car that was vandalized. Then, as I was inspecting the damage done, a white man in a black truck drove by me. When he got to where I was, he slowed down his truck and made eye contact with me. I mentioned this to one of my work colleagues, and he too said he knew exactly who I was talking about because the white man was parked right next to his car, and he could not make sense of it since there were many parking spaces. He thought it was weird. I told this work colleague of mine, who is a black American man, that this most likely happened because we were talking about another work colleague who is a white man. And the gang stalkers were listening through my phone or God knows what. Mind you, this is the second time my car is being vandalized by white men in less than 6 months. The first time, I had camera footage that showed a white man in a white SUV pull into the parking lot where I was parked and parked next to my car. Then he smashed my window, took my backpack and drove off. My brand new Toyota was parked next to a BMW, Mercedes, and other fancy cars. None was vandalized. It was pretty obvious my car was targeted because that white man drove into the parking lot, vandalized my car, and drove off. In other words, America's surveillance state is getting so bad that there is probably a whole industry devoted to monitoring people and harming people who white men feel are not speaking favorably about white men. I remember mentioning this to an Igbo guy I met in Los Angeles, that I noticed a lot of black people, Hispanic people especially, and white people following me around, and some weird occurrences that I was also noticing. At first I thought I was tripping, but now I know I'm not. The guy told me there is an Igbo woman much older than me that told him she is experiencing the same thing. I mentioned this to a classmate in Nigeria, and she told me she has a friend in another state in the US that is experiencing the same thing. In an old job, there was a black American girl that also complained about being followed around and targeted by Afro-Caribbeans, Hispanics, and blue-eyed white people. That was how she described them to me. At work then, I too, experiencing the same issue, but to a lesser degree than the Black American girl, observed some very strange and dark things happen to her. The most scary thing I observed was that there were times it seemed as if something possessed her and I was talking to another entity in her. And I remember her telling me that sometimes they make her do things that she can't stop herself from doing. It's not just her. I noticed this thing even in the people they used to follow me around. I remember when I was still new to Los Angeles and had not fully understood what was happening. A Hispanic man said to me, "How am I sure that you are even a real person?" I thought that was a weird thing to say. So are there people that are not real? Was my question to him because he was very serious. I've always had a probing mind, but these strange experiences forced me to study the darker side of our world. And my dear sisters and brothers, the things I have learned since then, my oh my, we simply cannot afford to be ignorant in this increasingly globalizing world. All these surveillance sounds like East Germany 2.0, or more like East Germany on steroids because of all these new technologies at their disposal. I bet my comment on East Germany flew right over the heads of many Black people. We simply cannot afford to keep being so naive. Not in this globalizing world. Globalization is dangerous. It brings the ordinary people from territories originally unreachable to psychopaths, under the thumb of those psychopaths. And these psychopaths have no mercy or regard for human life. On East Germany, it had a surveillance tyrannical system where the government declared it wants to know everything. And it did, down to when you bought new clothes, the brand of milk you bought at the grocery stores, and spied on every single citizen in East Germany. When the Berlin Wall fell, citizens of East Germany learned that they all had files on them as a result of the spying on them by the government. A good movie on this is The Lives of Others. On or around 2013, Edward Snowden raised an alarm about the surveillance taking place in America. He has a book on this and multiple movies on him regarding America's surveillance state. But as scary as his revelations were, even more white people have made scarier revelations that make Edward Snowden's revelation pale in comparison. This is not the time to aspire to be a slay queen or slay king because, as the Igbo elders warned their young in pre-colonial times, to be careful because that thing that unalived the mother hen still lurks around. I wish Alan Onyema the best. I wish Air Peace Nigeria the best. I thank the Nigerian president, His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the Nigerian government generally for rising above subversive ethnic bigotry and for their support of his efforts because it truly benefits all Nigerians. Well, that's all I have to say for now. Until next time, take care of your lovely selves. And remember, life is beautiful and worth living. Trust me, it is. When you remove these Ogbanje people from the equation, it is.